What's up, everybody? On the mic with Michael Flicks, Season 3, Episode 2. Real excited about this one, man. I got my guy, Gabe Macias, the owner and founder of Game Time Elite Training. I appreciate you pulling up on me.
Yes, sir. Bro. Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. Everything good with you? Everything good?
Oh, yeah. Everything's great, man. Excited for what's in the works and what we got planned.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Now, you also just started a travel ball team. Talk to me about, give me the name and talk to me about your travel ball team real quick.
Yeah, so Adapt Academy is...
Adapt Academy, I love that.
Yeah, Adapt Academy is the name of the club program. And the goal, the reason why we named it Adapt Academy is we're trying to build adaptable players, but also adaptable human beings. So we're trying to hit all frameworks. It's built around 360 development. So we're trying to not only give players the club experience, but we also, want to give them the training from a skill standpoint, strength training, and then we're just working on building better humans and just getting these athletes ready for the next step in life too, because all these players, not everyone's going to be able to play at that next level and continue basketball long term, so we want to get athletes ready for life after basketball as well. So, that's one of the big focal points and the focuses in our program.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Yeah. I love to hear it. I love the way you articulate that. Yeah. And I think it goes right in line. It's perfect. It goes right in line and it perfectly aligns with your personality. Because I'm just knowing you, just knowing you for as long as I've known. I think I met you when you were like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 25.
25. So, damn, so I've known you over a decade now. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, super
really dope.
Crazy.
And when I first met you, you were a high level, a very skilled and high level basketball player. Living in Ramona, made the decision to not go to the school that you were supposed to go to and come down here and play at Orange Glen to, compete for, higher level and try to, continue your basketball career. But after high school, you ended up going right into training, not into college basketball.
So I actually went to Grossmont College and was registered there for a year. If you remember, my senior year, I dislocated my kneecap.
I do remember.
End of the season. So all the offers I had, I was talking to NAIA schools, D3 schools, a bunch of JUCOs, and I was going to go to actually the University of La Verne to go play there, but they're a D3 school. They don't give out athletic scholarships just because they don't do that. Mm-hmm. And so they were just like, oh, you should go JUCO, and we'll continue to follow you. So I was like, all right, I had some JUCO schools talking to me. Ended up going to Grossmont, went there for a year, got my knee right, was practicing and playing with, or not playing with them, but practicing with them, and had the plan to play the next year. One day at an open gym at OG, Fedley invited me to come back out, so I came. Was running late, of course, jumped straight into it, and playing right away, just trying to go hard, and of course, I don't know, didn't warm up. Just jump stopped one play and then freaking ended up tearing my meniscus. So that pretty much ended it, my hopes of playing after that. So that's when I pursued training and coaching. I was already coaching with my dad a little bit on the side and training some of the players in his program because he ran a program in Ramona. So was coaching and training some players then. And I was like, you know what, I think I can actually do this, and I love doing it. So I was like, I'm gonna try to actually do it, pursue it full time. So, so had a little short snippet of a somewhat college career, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't really a career. It was just, 1 year practicing, I guess, with the team and whatnot, but ended after that.
And that's actually why I say it goes right in line with your personality and with your story as well, because you mentioned about, not everyone gets to keep on playing and, you got to be ready for the next phase of your life. And that's exactly what happened for you. Like, you had plans to play in college, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But, just from what your parents instilled in you, your coaches, you were able to, seamlessly transition into the next phase of your life, and you've been thriving in that lane pretty much ever since, bro. So it's really dope to see, man.
Yeah, appreciate that.
For you, man.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that, man. It's been a long time coming, man, and I mean, starting at a young age, I was training kids. I mean, I started training kids when I was like 16, but it wasn't serious. It was just kids in Ramona, who saw me at the park, who knew me growing up, and so they wanted to, train and stuff, and never really thought too much of it. But just starting then and now seeing, where it came. Sometimes I don't really take time to reflect and look at, how far it's been and the journey it's been. So it's cool. Appreciate that.
It's really dope. It's really dope. What was it before we get into your whole career and what you've been doing since you stopped playing? What was that transition like for you as a player who, as I said before, was playing AAU, playing high level basketball from, I want to say, from what I remember, from like 5th and 6th grade all the way through high school. And like I said, the goal and the plan was to play college basketball, whatever level it was, to play college basketball, and that didn't happen. I don't know if you had plans to be a pro or anything, but you definitely had plans to be playing college. And then when that didn't happen, like I said, it was a seamless transition for you from what we see from the outside looking in.
For sure.
But mentally, how did you deal with that transition?
Man, it was tough. It was super tough. Honestly, this is what I tell a lot of kids that I'm working with now is you have to detach yourself from basketball. You can't make basketball your identity, because it was my identity, and that's all I knew growing up. That's all I did, is just basketball 24/7. And so when something like that gets taken away from you, it makes you almost feel like you're worthless. You don't have anything to look forward to. And so when that was kind of done, I didn't really know what to do with myself. Like I was like, what do I do? What can I do? And so it was hard for me mentally. I was kind of lost, at some point, after I stopped hooping, I was like, what am I going to do? Can I actually go and turn this into a real living and a business? And I didn't think I could at first, and I wasn't really sure if it was going to be possible, but I just canceled out all the outside noise and what everyone was telling me, actually another thing is once I stopped hooping at Grossmont, stopped playing, I actually dropped out. So I didn't complete college. I was like, honestly, I don't see a point in me continuing to go to school and try to get an education, because at the time, I wanted to go into the business route, and all my classes that I was taking on business, and I was actually I was either going to be a physical therapist or try to do the basketball thing and have my own business in some way. And I just felt like when I was going to learning, these business classes, I was getting taught by teachers who have never ran a business, and they don't know what it's like to run a business. And I was like, I'm learning more on my own than actually at school and college. It's like, there's no real point for me to continue to do this. So I decided to kind of drop out. And then, like I said, I was kind of at a point where it was just hard mentally for me, just because basketball was my identity. And so it was hard for me to kind of get away from that and find, what my true purpose was.
Hey, what was that? I feel like I can't ask. I don't think I've ever met your mom, but if meeting your dad and becoming really cool with your dad, what was that like when telling your dad, like, I'm not going to school and I'm going to work for myself? Like, what was that like?
Ooh, yeah, that was a funny situation. So it was actually like I think it was either my 20th birthday or my 19th birthday. I told him, and he was telling me, I made a mistake, and we butt heads, man, and it didn't go too well. And at least dropping out of college, he said, I shouldn't drop out of college and make a mistake. He's like, I should go pursue that. And we kind of butted heads for a little bit and didn't really see eye to eye for some time, but that's years ago, and everything's fine now. But it was tough at first. It was super tough, and that's what made me kind of second guess. Am I doing the right thing? Should I do this? Mm-hmm. But deep down, I really knew this is what I wanted to do. So I just kept pushing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you drop out of school. You're working for yourself now. At what point? Because I know there could be a lot of, as someone who also works for himself. Mm-hmm. Do you go through times, especially in that early time, when you're really excited and you're doing all this work, and then you look up and the money's not really equaling up to all the work you're doing? Yeah. So at what point did it start to make sense? And you're like, what? I chose the right thing. This is my path, and it makes sense for me now. Yeah.
Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing to start. Like, I was just doing whatever I could to kind of figure things out, and I was just learning all on my own. It didn't make sense to me. I was lucky because I was young and I was, still living at home and stuff. So then it was, it was fine. But it honestly, things didn't start actually lining up and looking like a real business till about like 2020, 2021-ish. That's 2020, I would say, when I knew that, okay, I got this going and I can, actually do this for sure. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. 3-4 years ago.
And what changed? What made you feel like okay, I'm on solid ground now, I'm doing this? Like, what changed for you?
Yeah, honestly, just having like a mentor, just having someone and just picking other people's brains. Like, I had the one guy I share the gym with now, Dom, actually, you know him. Mm-hmm. So I met him in, I think, 2018, and he kind of showed me the ropes on, how to, run your own business, how you can make this actually possible. And then, just picking other people's brains and finding other mentors that could help me out and kind of guide me in the right direction. So I knew it was possible and knew this was something I could, do long term.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. So I can't tell you, bro, I've had, I've been coaching and working in childcare. I did it from 17, I'm 35 now. I did it from 17, I want to say, up until like 31, 32. And in that time, I've had quite a few either kids in my classrooms or my after school programs or kids that I've coached or trained go on and do things and I'm able to be like, man, that was really dope. And one, I don't think I've ever been more proud of when you opened your gym, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
That was so, and just knowing, I didn't know how deep, things were with you and your dad and you dropping out of school. But just knowing what I know of your dad, I assumed that was a touchy situation for the two of you. And so to know that you went through that at some scale, knowing that you wanted to be a college basketball player and that didn't work out. So to see you keep plugging away at what you were doing and then finally open your own gym in San Marcos, bro, I was like, when I saw that, I was so happy, bro. So happy for you and so proud of you, bro.
Appreciate that, man. No, it was honestly my brand, Dream Chaser, that's kind of what I live by and what I tell kids, man. It's like, no matter what you do, you just got to chase your dreams. Mm-hmm. Like everybody's going to, doubt you. There's going to be people that are going to tell you can't do this. You got to do something else. Mm-hmm. And I had that, I had a lot of people tell me like, no, you need to go back to school. You need to go get a real job. Like family, I had people that were really close in my circle tell me that. And I didn't let that deter me and steer me off my path and what I wanted to do. And so that's what I tell everybody I work with, man, is you got to be a dream chaser, and you got to really go out and believe in yourself, no matter what anybody tells you.
That's dope. Yeah. At what point, what was it 2020 or 2021 when you opened your gym?
2021.
Talk to me about that experience. What was that like?
Yeah, it was, so I was looking, honestly during COVID, like I was like, okay, like everything shut down. I was training kids at parks. You even got kicked out of parks. Like they even told us like one time in Ramona, they were like, no, you guys can't be here. Like it's shut down, whatever. So I was like, yo, like what the heck? I couldn't train anybody. So I had to buy a hoop at my house, put a hoop up and train kids, at my house, and do that. So I was like, you know what? I need to find something because you never know when this is going to happen again and whatnot. So I was looking, from once COVID happened, I was just looking online, trying to, look up properties and stuff. And, it was hard. I couldn't really find anything. But Dom, who I mentioned earlier, he was like, you know what, the guy next door, he's going to be moving out, and I'll introduce you to the landlord, and you can talk to him. And so I talked to the landlord. Everything went well, and he was like, yeah, you know what, it looks good. We didn't sign a lease yet, but he was like, come back to me. I think his lease was up in October of 2021. And I think I talked to him in like August. He's like, come back to me. I'll have the lease ready for you October, and you can sign it. We'll get you in there. And I was like, oh, perfect. There we go. So come back around. I'm staying in touch with them and whatnot. And I was like, when's a good time? October comes on, when's a good time to come in? And he's like, actually, we decided to move a different way. I just want to use it for, I collect cars. I want to use it to keep all my cars and do like an auto shop in there. So I was like, oh, wow. So I was like, dang, that's crazy. So I was betting on that. And I was like, dang. So I'm talking to Dom, and he's like, you know what, man? He's like, if you wanted to use this area in his gym, he has like a little turf. I don't know if you were in there earlier on when he had the turf, but he had like a turf set up and this long kind of like strip in the warehouse. And he's like, honestly, I could probably use the turf outside. And he's like, if you wanted to build like a court in here, you can use it. So I was like, you know what? It's not the best dimensions, not the ideal situation to what I would have had next door, but I was like, we can make something work and I can do it. I've seen gyms like this done before, so I was like, you know what? I'll do it, and ended up doing it, and I was grateful enough to let him, allow me to build that, and so that's pretty much how it started and came about.
That's really dope, man. Yeah, that's really dope. What's I'm not sure if you have like an official like mission statement for Game Time Elite Training, but if you had to talk about like what your goal is for your training program or for your training business and the program, what would you say is like kind of like the mission statement?
That's a great question. So just how I kind of touched up on it with Adapt Academy, we want to build adaptable players and humans. Mm-hmm. From training, it's been very similar. When you go to trainers, you're usually signing up to get better at basketball, right? And that's what usually you do. And so sometimes parents will ask you, what makes you different? And sometimes you don't really have, like, I'm a trainer, I can do this. And you can explain to them, this is what I do different. Maybe this is my philosophy and whatnot. But sometimes parents don't always understand that. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to, like, really separate yourself. And something I've always been big on is just, like, human development and just, like I said, getting athletes ready for life after basketball. And I've always been super passionate about that. I know you've been into some of my sessions and stuff, and kids have journals. We're journaling, we're doing mindset talks, leadership talks and stuff. And so our mission statement, man, is pretty similar to like the human standpoint from Adapt, is just getting athletes ready for life after basketball and teaching them life lessons that they can take away and apply for the rest of their lives, once basketball does stop. So that is a big part of what we do at Game Time Elite Training, and something that I believe is not talked about enough. I think a lot of times trainers and coaches, we get so consumed on basketball, which is, that's obviously our livelihood and what we love to do. But like I said, at the end of the day, these players, not everybody's going to go play college and professionally. So, we're almost doing them a disservice if all we are focusing on is basketball. So that's kind of like, what we're big on is just the human development side of things as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, bro. What, doing training for so long, and I know you were a part of the, you're like Coastal alumni, part of the Coastal family. What made you want to start your own travel club and not stay a part of Coastal?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, I was coaching Coastal too. I don't know if you remember, from 2018 to 2022, I was coaching Coastal. Had a good group of kids too. Started with them, I think they were in 5th grade, went all the way up through, they were 8th grade. And so 2023 comes around, and I'm planning on, this is last year, planning on coaching them again, going to do it. But my Blake, he's playing overseas and stuff. And so he's like, you know what, Lan? He's like, yo, do you want to come out here for, a month or so, and just train me, help me get ready for the season and whatnot? And I was like, yeah, bro, I'd love to do that. And, thinking about, he's like, what time? He's like, playoffs are going to be coming up around this time. I'd like you to come, before this, whatnot. And so I was like, dang, yeah. And I was like, yeah, no, I'd love to. And I had actually some other coaches who I had connects with who were in Europe, and they were like, I'd love for you to, come do a clinic and we can connect and link up and just, talk and everything. I was like, you know what? All right, yeah, I'm going to go over there and do it. And of course, the time it lines up is like the start of club season. So I was like, you know what, man, like, I don't know if I could, I don't know if I can coach this year, man. I don't know if I can really, do it. And I was kind of already, I was pursuing really the training route too, and then that's what most of my passion was in. And I had another opportunity. One of our partners is in Miami, and so I was going to be going to Miami for a couple weeks too in the summer during July, which is the most important time for AAU basketball. And so I was like, you know what? Honestly, it probably doesn't make sense for me to really just like coach AAU this season. If I'm going to be gone for a month and a half in Europe and I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks in July, it's like those are like, that's the start and then that's the end in, the most important times. I was like, it probably doesn't make sense, and I'm leaning more towards this training route anyways, so I was like, I'm probably just going to step away and be done. And it honestly hurt, and I was like, damn, bro, like I love coaching. I love these kids, and these kids mean a lot to me. Built some very strong relationships and still have, I believe that these kids, the kids that I was working with, they're like brothers to me, like little brothers, these are, families that I grew really close to, and it was a really hard decision. But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go, to Europe, learn. So I went over there, was training Blake, ran a couple clinics with some other, coaches in other countries. Got to meet and just study the game at all levels. Talked to some really knowledgeable people. Honestly, like some of the coaches that I met over there, there's no doubt in my mind they're some of the best coaches in the world. And the way that they approach the game is completely different from what we do over here. And I think it's something that, if you get the chance to do, you should do it. Obviously, like some areas I went to, it wasn't the best basketball, but I was making it a point to go learn from some of the best. And so I took that experience to, go train Blake, go run some of these clinics, but then also learn and just study the game abroad, because we know right now the top players in the NBA, they are European or international players. And they're starting to take over the world at all levels. College, they're taking it over. Even now high schoolers are coming over and they're taking it over. So it's like it's becoming very apparent. And I was kind of curious too, like, why is this happening? What's so different over there to over here? And so I took it as an opportunity to go learn. And once I went over there and went to Europe and I was studying some academies, so some club teams, I got to go to Belgium and visit one of my guys who I've been following on social media for a very long time. His name is Jurek Michaels, runs elite academies in Belgium, and it's the best program that I've ever seen, laid eyes on, and just studied and been like, I wasn't a part of it, but just really got to learn from ever. Like there's nothing like it, and I don't think there's anything like it in the United States, and it's just kind of one of a kind thing. And so once I went over there and I was like, wow, like I was completely mind blown and walked away. I was like, no, we got to bring this back to the States, bro. There's nothing like this. Like we got to bring this back out here. So once I did that, I was like, damn, did I do the right decision to step away, And I was kind of second guessing myself, and I was like, you know what, screw it. Next year, I'm going to spend this whole year planning out how we're going to do this thing, and next year, when next year comes around, we're going to build it out, and we're going to do it. And so going to Europe, it changed my perspective on basketball, the way basketball is taught, the way that we view basketball. And I was like, I want to, be a change, because there is a lot of negative connotations around club basketball right now. It's a lot of highlight culture. It's a lot of individuals that are there's very good players, but it's a lot of those very good players just trying to go out and just get theirs and showcase what they can do, which is fair, but it also can hurt their game. It can hurt the people around them. So I was just trying to figure out how we can just bring all this back over here.
Hey.
Yeah.
Are there any coaches and or trainers that you kind of like you see what they do, and I don't want to say like model your whole program after them, but like you see what they do and you're like, I like that. Like take bits and pieces from what he's doing.
Yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot of dudes out there who I really respect and do it like differently. And it's not just for the sake of doing it differently. It's like there's a science. I've been studying training for a long time now, and every year my training philosophy kind of has evolved and gotten better. And there actually is a real science to how players get better. It's called skill acquisition. If you're a coach trainer, I highly recommend just going out and looking up and seeing what it is, because there's literally a science to how athletes get better, and there's a way that we can follow this and help athletes hopefully reach their fullest potential. And so there's a lot of guys that I kind of follow in that area, and even just guys in Europe. Like I said, a lot of the guys that I follow now and gotten inspiration from are European coaches. And I got to meet one of those dudes, when I went over there. And so, those are some of the dudes, that I've gotten inspiration from and stuff. And it's like I've not necessarily like taken what they do, but I create, my own philosophy and my own style kind of around, what I've seen and what I've picked up from. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the best way to do it, honestly, is like, just learn from others and then kind of create your own kind of lane and create your own type of thing. So yeah, there's a lot though. A lot.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
What of all your time, coaching and training, what has been your like two of your most like rewarding moments or situations being a coach or trainer?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a lot. I don't know if I can pinpoint exactly the most rewarding. I know I've gotten a lot of messages from parents who are like, like you've changed. Well, actually, there's one parent who like told me like, you've changed my son's life. Like the way that he has not only excelled in basketball, but just like in life. Like he used to have, anxiety and like didn't really want to talk to anybody. Didn't have he had problems just socially communicating with people. And like, he's a completely different person now. And he's able to communicate with people, like just from what you've taught him. Like we have like a culture that we set in our gym. It's like anytime you walk in, you need to shake everybody's hand. You need to communicate. If you don't know someone, go introduce yourself to somebody new. Go talk to them, learn about them. What school do they go to? What club team they play for? And so things that like we've done that don't really involve basketball, it's like it's crazy to think that it's changed their lives in other ways outside of basketball. And so that's one example. Another rewarding one, there's been a lot of messages that I get from parents, or phone calls from parents that will tell me just like how much I've impacted a family's life. And it's just crazy to think about too, just because like it's like I didn't really expect myself to be doing this. I always thought I was just going to be a hooper and just be a hooper for the rest of my life, or go some other route. So it's really cool to hear the stories and the impact that you can have through basketball. Yeah, just a bunch of messages and stories I've got from families and stuff.
That's really dope, man.
Yeah,
that's really dope. It's got me it ain't about me, it's about you.
Yeah.
It's got me thinking about, when I was coaching and something like, those are the best moments, bro.
Yeah.
Like and not even just with coaching, just with working with the youth in general. Mm-hmm. Getting those types of messages, like, yo, you really helped my son, or you really changed his life. Or like, those are like, you get into it because you want to help people reach their fullest potential as a basketball player. Yeah. For me, I can say, I started coaching because I wanted to help players reach their fullest potential as a basketball player. Mm. And then that's still a goal, and you still want to do that, but for me anyway, and I've spoken to a few other people, while that's always the main thing is the main thing, but you also, as you've been speaking to, you get so energized and so charged up by like seeing kids like excel in other ways, whether it's socially, emotionally, academically, or any other way. So Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, bro.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. It's been super cool, man. I'm loving, every moment of it. I got to take some time, like I said, to kind of take a step back and just reflect and just enjoy the journey, because sometimes you get caught up in just everything that's going on, and you forget to take a look back and see how far you've come, or just kind of to be present too, So I've been trying to become, present and just enjoying every step of the way, because we got some big plans and a big vision, and sometimes I get caught up looking towards that vision instead of being, where I am right now. And so, I've just been trying to do a better job of just taking every moment in and just really enjoying it.
That's really dope, man.
Yeah.
That's really dope. My guy, Gabe, man, tell me everywhere they can find you on Instagram and how they can sign up for training or be a part of your travel ball program. Give me
Yeah. So you can find me online at Game Time Elite Training on all social media platforms. Our new program, Adapt Academy, you can find us at Adapt Academy San Diego. We got another branch in Miami if anybody's listening in the East Coast or, Florida, Southern Florida. We got a branch out there as well. But yeah, you can find us online if you're interested in hearing more about us. You can, visit our website, fill out a contact form, reach out to us on Game Time Elite Training or, Adapt Academy. But it's been a blast, man. I appreciate you having me on and everything, man.
Absolutely. I had to have you on, man. My guy,
Oh, yeah,
I
for sure.
you, fam.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. On the mic with Michael Flick, Season 2, Episode 2. I appreciate y'all tapping in, man. Till next time. Take care.